How's it going, everybody? Terrence here with Highly Active Fitness, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to do the gainer. First, let me give an example of the gainer. Alright, now there are a few different ways to go about the gainer. Today, I'm going to teach you how I think about it, what I think is the best way to go about it, especially when it comes to moving on to bigger moves like corks, things like that. Alright, starting off, basically there's two main steps to the gainer. There's the takeoff, which is the swing, and there's the landing. Now, as far as the takeoff goes, like I mentioned, it heavily relies on the swing. If you can get your swing right, that is your takeoff. Now, a couple different things to think about with the gainer. They go beyond that. I'll mention those as well. But first, let me get into the takeoff. So, as I mentioned, we're going to be doing a swing. Now, what does that mean? It's that thing I did in the beginning where my leg was kind of hanging behind and it came through like that and brought me into the air. Now, as far as the swing goes, there's two main ways from standing to get into it. One of them is called the J-step. I don't do this one very much. We'll see how this goes. And the other one is the one you just saw me do. That's called a Euro step. As far as the J-step goes, it's got 3 steps to it. 1, 2, 3. Really, it's got 2 main steps to it. 1, 2. But that first step just kind of gets you moving. So it's got the 1, 2, and then this is the J. Your leg's gonna come through that way, boom, J step, but all at once. So when you do a J step to a gainer, it's pretty much gonna look like this. Like I said, not my preferred setup. I feel like it's a little bit fast. Kind of rushes you into it, but a lot of people like to start with that one. It's got less steps to it, kind of makes more sense when you're first starting off. So a lot of people tend to start with that one. Now, in my opinion, the Euro step, which has a little hop on the one leg, it's pretty much just the J step where you hop on one leg. But in my opinion, kind of sets you up a little bit more for the gainer, gives a little bit more time to plan. I'll show you again what that looks like. This is one I did in the beginning, but here's what that looks like. Alrighty. Now, I just mentioned the 3 steps into the J-step setup. I'll get a little bit more into detail into how that actually works. And real quick, here's the steps for the Euro steps. Pretty much the same thing, but you hop on your left leg. Or, if you trick the other way, your right leg, just one time before you actually do the swing. And it kind of changes the rhythm of it, if you will. So for this one, it's going to be pretty much also 3 steps, but skipping the first step from the J step, going right into this one, and then you hop on this leg twice. So I kind of just start moving, get this leg out, sort of not quite in the direction that I'm going to take off. Whenever I'm doing a standing J step or a Euro step, I tend to try to get about 90 degrees. So if I'm going to be doing the cork that way, swinging that way, I'm going to be doing the cork this way, if that makes sense, swinging this way, going that way. I'm going to start off 90 degrees this way. With the J step, it's a little bit harder to kind of get right where I want it, but with the Euro step, in my opinion, it's a little bit easier to kind of just take a step in that direction, get this leg out, sort of hop onto it, but keep your center of gravity real low. You don't want to jump onto your leg. You want to just kind of skip. It's this sort of keeping your center of gravity real low while you just glide right above the ground. So the step, so that, and then boom, you do it again. Like I said, this one's a little bit weirder if you're just starting off. Kind of makes a little bit less sense, but you're just getting your momentum going in that direction. You kind of do that little glide step, and then you do it the same glide step but on the same foot. So it's glide, glide, Again, while that one I think does offer a little bit more power, a little bit more control, the J step just makes a little bit more sense to start off. So I'll cover exactly kind of the momentum and everything behind that real quick, and then we'll go into how, once you take off, how you're going to actually turn that into a gainer, be able to confidently, repetitively land, not have to worry about falling, all that. But yeah, let's talk about how exactly this J step's going to go down. So like I mentioned, you're going to start facing 90 degrees off from where you're going to actually take off from. So you're going to take off, I'm going to be taking off this way, I'm going to start this way. If I'm going to be taking off this way, I'm going to start this way. So a little bit better actually because I'm facing the camera, so I'll take off this way for now. But with the J step, it's going to be that first step just to get yourself moving. Another step, kind of keep your center of gravity low, knees bent. Wherever your center of gravity is, you don't want to just be standing all the way up. You want to be bent, knees bent a little bit, but everything else nice and straight. Just bending those knees so you drop your center of gravity, get a little bit closer to the ground, and you can spring. You need to be able to spring for that takeoff, right? The swing helps, but you also need to be able to spring. Swing and spring, both. Anyway, so when it comes to that J step, like I said, we're starting off 90 degrees and facing the camera, but I'm actually going to take off that way, travel that way. I'm going to start with that first step just to get the self moving. Center of gravity low, kind of glide on the ground again like we're saying, just to get this one's going to have a little bit more gusto to it, but not quite all your energy yet, just building up momentum, building up acceleration, you know what I'm saying? Get that first step. Second one, a little bit more gusto. And then this third one is the actual J step. It's where the leg's we're not just gonna go straight here to where the leg's gonna end up. We're gonna bring it in and around, basically. Not too crazy, but that little bit of a pivot shape gets you a lot of power. It kind of just like gets you the torque you need to get right into the setup, so that when you go and you swing and everything that's gonna come next, you'll be able to just boom, swing right into it. So it's that first step to get you moving, second step a little bit more gusto, third step, boom. And on the third step, there is going to be a moment, and this is true for both the Euro step and the J step, there's a moment right before you take off where neither foot is on the ground. And that is kind of crucial, but it's also not a jump, and it's definitely not a leap. It's just a skip. You want to keep your center of gravity level, traveling across the ground at an even plane, but your legs do that little glide, that little skip, so that they're ready, the knees are bent and everything, and they're ready to take off. But you want both legs to come off the ground, but you don't want your center of gravity to move upward, if that makes any sense. At least the least amount possible. So it's that 1, 2, boom, up. But everything stays centered, but we're still coming off the ground just for a second. Same thing with the Euro step. 1, 2, boom. Everything's coming off the ground just for that second. Now getting into the actual gainer. I did mention just now when you're doing the swing setup, you want to make sure your center of gravity is low. That's very important. It's definitely going to make sure that you get enough air, that you at least won't hurt yourself. You get at least enough around that you'll land with your hands or something. But make sure your center of gravity is low. Boom, you get into that, you do the setup, whether it's the J step or the Euro step, whichever one you prefer. Get right here. Now, typically speaking, we're not facing straight back. Usually our hips are a little bit kind of pointed this way still, so that when we do swing, then they end up straight back, if that makes sense. But boom, ending up here, boom. Whatever setup it is, could be the Euro, same thing, ending up here. Both arms are pulled back. Now when it comes to the actual gainer and we swing, that leg's gonna be pulled back as far as you can. You don't want it to be like this, and you don't want it to be too straight. You want it to be just this kind of I don't know, almost as if it were like a ribbon being pulled back behind you. Boom, following this sort of large circular trajectory, just tracing the outline of it, if you will. But anyway, boom, starting there, you want it really cocked back, you know what I'm saying? So that when you do, and arms cocked back as well, so when you do come through, it's got a lot of power, and when you add that to the pop, boom, you're flying, you know what I mean? So it's all that, legs, arms, and everything's back. You're pulled back really hard, pulled back basically to where you came from. And then once you take off, it's gonna be your leg and the opposite arm. So in my case, I trick to the left. I'm taking off my left leg. I'm swinging my right leg. It's going to be my left arm that's really going to drive the gainer here. I'm really just thinking only about my left arm at this point. Boom. It's what it's going to create the balance. So my right leg and my left arm come through. And that's what creates that balance. Same thing if you're going to do a switch, a gainer switch or something. It's that right leg and that left arm. Or if you're this way, it's that left leg and right arm. I don't trick that way. But it's going to be the opposite arm. And your arm's going to really yank in a giant circle that gets tighter at the top. So pretty much in a giant spiral. Sometimes you call it a candy cane in tricking. It's this giant spiral that tightens at the top. So you want the top to be where the spiral, tightens up and gets smaller. If you're really nerdy into like math or fractals or any of that kind of stuff, it's basically a Fibonacci spiral. But you want that spiral that comes really nice and round and tightens at the top. You're gonna basically draw that out with your arm, your opposite arm, straight behind you. So in this case, it's gonna go this way and then tighten at the top. I'm a little bit too close, huh? It's gonna go this way and then tighten at the top with my left arm. So boom, and then comes in at the top. And then right when it comes in at the top, that's when my leg's gonna complete. So basically, when I swing through, I'm gonna stop my leg as much as I can, basically parallel to the ground, but my arm's gonna keep going, and it's gonna make that spiral I was just talking about. And then after that, I'm gonna let my leg continue and follow through. Found a safe place to do it. So yeah, really getting that swing down, having it jump, come into that spiral with your arm and your opposite leg, your leg swinging and then your arms drawing that spiral at the same time. It's nothing too crazy. Really, you're just bringing it up and into yourself, kind of just up, and then as you bring it in, that's what creates a spiral. You don't need to draw anything crazy with your hand. It's really just back, boom, and in. Get your leg to, make sure your leg doesn't go too far in front of you, because that's what'll mess you up too. Kind of have it stop parallel and then complete. I'm not the best in the world at gainer, so I might not be doing that as good as I could be. But ideally, that's how you want it to happen. You want to really swing that leg, but have it stop parallel, have it not really pass your hips too much, and then bring that arm, boom. And that's going to bring you around for the gainer. So, like I said, this is a really good way to do it if you want to learn other moves like corks, variations, gainer variations, cork variations, even double corks, all that kind of stuff. If you have this really nice foundation like this, that'll really help you get to those kind of moves. Now there are other ways to learn gainers that are a little bit easier. Be using scoots and other kind of moves and aerials to kind of work your way to the gainer. But in my opinion, as far as doing like a raw gainer the way it should be done, this is kind of how it should be done. Let me know if I'm wrong. I could totally be wrong. Definitely far from the best tricker out there. I'm sure there's other guys with way more experience, way better tips, who could kind of enlighten me maybe on the better techniques I could be using. Please let me know in the comments if you're one of those guys who has better tips. I'd love to hear from you. If you got any other tricks you want me to teach in this channel, please let me know. I'd love to teach those. And yeah, until next time, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that. And until next time, stay high, stay healthy, and always stay active. Cheers, everybody.